Okay, so here is another session working with Hazel. This is just the warm-up. You can see she's a little tense, a little snatchy, so we're just going to do a nice high rate of reinforcement on some tasks that she now finds very easy, which is great because when we first started working with her, a little spook. When we first started working with her, if I so much as reached towards her shoulder, she would turn her butt for a kick threat or pin her ears like she was going to bite me, and I'm talking like from 5 feet away. So this is great that she finds this is a nice, safe, reinforcing task. So we're just going to warm her up with some scritches, hang out. You can't see really on the camera right now, but there is a tarp above on the roof of that shelter behind her that is super flappy. And so she's a little bit worried about that. And that's one of those things where a lot of people are like, oh, well, I can't get the environment exactly perfectly quiet and it's too loud or too busy, so I can't work with the horse. But you can. You just, you can dial it down a little bit, but still making progress. And while she gets used to that flappy tarp and learns that that's just part of the environment today, it's not going to hurt her. And she settles in. But a lot of people will start out their training session and think, oh, well, it's too windy today, we're not going to have a good day, and not give it the time it needs to just settle in. So that's why we're doing a nice long warm-up today. We're going to be working on the neck hug halter technique because Hazel has some issues with her ears. We think previous injury. And so we're going to see if we can put a halter on that way instead of traditional self-haltering of flipping it over the ears, because that particular movement is very uncomfortable for her. So again, just kind of warming her up, getting her used to me moving around, moving my arms, petting her all over, getting her to her baseline level of comfort and getting her into working mode. And Tatiana's been working with her for the most part this week, so I haven't had a session in a while. So I really want to do a nice long warm-up, especially with how flappy that tarp is. So that was our first attempt at the neck hug. And you can see I kind of kept my body distance away. And then I reminded her about neck target, which we accidentally taught her how to do a neck target like that, where you stick out your hand and say neck, and she brings her neck over to it, which actually comes in handy in this scenario because when I start working with her, she's okay with the hug, but she kind of moves her neck away. And you'll see I was able to use that neck target cue as a way to get her to bring her neck closer to me. So I'm just scratching over the top of her neck. And there's the neck target with the scratch over the top to see if I can get her to bring, yeah, there it is, bring her neck towards me while I have the hand on the other side of her neck. So you'll see I'm going to end up hugging her and pulling her neck towards me, but I use that neck target to teach her that that's what I wanted, rather than just pulling her neck and hoping she'd get it. There we go. Now, yep, just the neck target without the hand over the neck to see if I can get a bigger neck target. All right, going back for the arms around, and you'll see, I think in the last video with Hazel, I showed how starting with one hand under, kind of like that, one hand over, and then two hands at the same time to really make sure she's okay with seeing the hands coming around the other side of her, through her other eye. And we're always peppering in some easy tasks here and there just to make sure it's not always harder, because we want to make sure she is comfortable and having fun, and then we pepper in the hard stuff. And then it doesn't seem so hard. Oh, chin scratches. That was a big thing because she had a rash under her chin when she first came here. She did not want anyone touching under her chin, even though it was super itchy. So I'm really glad we had the opportunity to show her how nice chin scratches can be. Mixing in some hoof lifts just to work on cue control, really, and make sure she's not forgetting anything. There we go, with that neck target and the hand on the other side. So I'm teaching her, when I pull your neck towards me, I want you to pull your neck towards me, basically. But I'm not doing it as a pressure and release. I'm showing her the answer with my other hand before I'm asking the question, so that it's just a tactile cue and not an uncomfortable aversive cue. Okay, now I have the strap in my hand and I'm rubbing her with it, and she seems pretty good. But she is one that's good at hiding her concern. Or, you know, like if there's a little contact shift, like I've been doing this with a brown strap, and today I did it with the purple. And she seemed okay at first until I unfolded it, and I think we missed she had a big spook when I unfolded it. And yeah, she's like, oh, I don't like the purple strap. I'm going to stand this far away because that's where I feel safe. And this is great because when Hazel first came, she didn't know that she could say no. She didn't know that she could set the parameters like this and stand further away. And so, like, you know, we don't want to push them over the edge and have them leave the session necessarily, but sometimes some horses need a reminder that they can if they want to, because we're not always going to know what's going to push them over threshold, and some of them will stick around much longer than they really should. Oh, she did not like that. I didn't go anywhere near her ear with it. It was by her jaw, but she still didn't like it. But I'm still going to click and feed because this is counter conditioning. I want her to be comfortable with that strap. And then I think at this point I put the strap down and went back to easy mode and just did some pets. We don't want to drill really hard things. We really want her to feel feelings of competence. Like, that was scary, but I did it. And if you drill hard things, they don't get that. They get kind of like exhausted of like, oh, I survived it. So we want to build up those feelings of competence by doing some easy things, mixing it all in, and getting them to feel like it's no big deal. And you can see she's still a little jumpy. Even though we've moved back on to easy things, she's very good at picking up her feet. Do a little touch all over the body, practicing her standing still while we touch her all over so that we can get her stationing for grooming. Her owner's number one goals are grooming and going for walks, hand walks. So and maybe eventually riding. We'll see how she does, but I think if this is any indication of how quickly she progressed on this neck hug, you're going to see, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, we'll be riding her tackless in no time. There, she's softening a little bit because she was very chompy a little bit before. Going back to the neck hug a little bit. And I think now, compared to the purple strap, the neck hug is like, oh, that's no big deal. At first we started the session, it was a little weird, but now it's like the easier of the two hard things. She's still kind of, leaning her neck away. I'm going to see if she can bring her neck over. I don't know if you can hear, but I'm saying neck to see if she'll bring her neck towards me. So I am applying pressure on the other side of her neck and really kind of like squeezing. So we're joking that I'm roping her with my arms. But it's a great way to get her used to the sensation of something around her neck pulling her. Yep, and there I gave her a hint with the hand of, hey, can you bring your neck closer to my hand? Very nice neck target there. I think this might have been, the camera probably missed, she had a big spook at that tarp, and she put some space between me and her. There she is doing great. Oh, and see, she brought her neck closer to me. That's great. That's exactly what I want to see. I think this is my favorite clip of the day because I was really grabbing her neck pretty tight and my hands were touching on the other side. And yeah, look at how close she came. And she was doing absolutely fine with that. Some more scritchies. All right, now I'm bringing back the scary strap. Trying to see how small do I make it. I wanted it to have a little bit of a tail on it, so it does. She's like, yeah, I'll check that out. We want to reward that curiosity. So I think this is when I realized we needed to back way up, and she needed to be able to see that thing flapping around and not be terrified. And she's very scared here. It might not look like a big reaction, but she's a very brave horse. And so for her to just walk away like that, she definitely has some feelings. So now this is just counter conditioning and desensitization, systematic. I'm trying to find a safe distance at which she doesn't have a big reaction to it and feels comfortable with me just showing her the collar and trying to teach her, hey, this doesn't mean to like move away, like in case she thinks it's a flag, or some people use the end of the lead rope as a way to drive the horse away. And she may have been taught that. So I just want to show her, no, this is just a floppy little collar. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to move away. You don't have to move towards it. I am just clicking and feeding every time that collar flops. So she learns to undo that automatic association that is some sort of aversive pressure. So it looks boring when we do this, but eventually, we'll just get closer and closer until she doesn't mind if I have it dangling over her neck and flapping around like that. She was like, yeah, I need a minute there. And that's okay. Like, I am very comfortable with that. She had a good amount of space and she's like, yeah, I need more. And that's okay because she's advocating for herself and what she's comfortable with. And she's remembering that she can walk away. She's not on a lead rope. And that's why we do all of this at Liberty, so she can take as many breaks and walk away and gather herself. She also, I think, went over and like did a whole body shake and blew out, which is what she needs. And this is building emotional regulation here. She's watching the top of that tarp flap that you can't see on the camera. It was very scary. And I like this moment. She went up to check out the scary flapping tarp and like target towards it. And so I actually clicked and treated that because that is kind of the behavior we want, is like something scary, I'm going to investigate it. So I'm like, hey, can you just check this out? Very good. She walked towards it. That's what we want. Very good. Much less reaction. She still wants some space between her and the scary thing, and that's okay. But, people think, oh my gosh, it's such a big reaction. But typically, for most horses, it's a couple of sessions of this, and then you just get closer each session, and then it's totally fine. We have some notable exceptions, like Jack and the lead rope, that took months of very creative counter conditioning to get him past. But for the most part, it's just repeating this and letting it be a good thing and feeding it and getting it to be less scary. And there we go. I threw it back down again, and I'm like, it's just me. Do you want to come and snuggle with me? And she's like, yeah, I like the snuggles. Of course. So I'm seeing if I can line her up again and remind her, hey, it's just my hands now. And she's like, oh, yeah, okay. And this is great for horses, too. So Mustangs need to learn that they can be a little bit scared, but not lose the progress on the rest of the stuff. So bouncing between, okay, challenge mode, and okay, back to that ideal learning state of, nice and relaxed and accepting touch. Because there are some horses where it's like you bring out one scary thing and they're like, nope, I'm done for the session. And I think that was the tarp flapping. And it just, she needed a moment. And I'm shaking my body there to see if I can get her to take a deep breath and shake out and really release that tension. I'm stretching, I'm taking deep breaths. I'm seeing if she'll kind of co-regulate with me and down-regulate from that spooky moment. She's taking her time chewing. On the camera cut out before she had that big blowout. All right, and I think that was the end of the session.